Welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to Sales Lead Dog. My guest for today's show is Rodrigo Hijar. Rodrigo is the head of sales strategy and planning for Vilore Foods Company. Rodrigo, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
Hey, Chris. How are you doing? Thanks for the invite.
I'm doing great. Excited to talk with you today. Tell me a bit about Vilore Foods.
Sure. So we can be considered a distributor of foodstuffs in the U.S. We have historically been a Hispanic products distributor. We represent two big Mexican brands. In Spanish, it's Jumex. Here in the U.S., the consumers call it Jumex with a J, and La Costeña, which also has the N with a hat, Mexican even from the name. So yeah, we sell and distribute these products throughout the U.S. We're national, and now we're in a journey of transformation. We're merging another company into the group, and we are planning to become more of a food and beverage company, expanding into new niches, into the main aisle, out of the Hispanic aisle. Yeah. And yeah, we're big, but we're growing.
That's awesome. That's exciting. That's really exciting. So in your world, what are the things that you're really focused on right now that in your industry that's important to you guys as you move forward?
Right. So I would say from a consumer perspective, we are trying to crack the code on how to play outside of Hispanic. That's like one change of mindset that we're going through. We're also trying to get innovation right. We've been trying innovation and trying and failing as it should. We're trying to crack the code for that. And I would say that internally, we're sort of restructuring how the company works to be way more consumer oriented. And again, like out of this Hispanic aisle that we're encapsulated in as of now.
Yeah. I love in the grocery store, when I walk down that aisle, I love to stop and see what's there, because for me, I'd love to travel internationally and experience all the different brands that are around the world. I love going into the grocery stores to see what's in there. And so to me, it's like I get to travel a little bit while I'm staying at home. Right. My girlfriend is Vietnamese, and so she's opened up a whole new world of cuisine to me, going to the Asian stores for the different things they have. It's so much fun. I absolutely love it.
Right. Love Vietnamese, by the way. I describe Vietnamese as I didn't know that coriander and mint could do these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say that what you're saying of you shopping in the Hispanic aisle, I feel that that's something that we've discovered throughout recently. We took a look at our panel data, and at some point we realized that for some of our categories, we're consumed more by non-Hispanic consumers than by Hispanic ones.
Right.
That was a big eye opener.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
You're not alone, Chris.
I think the grocery stores need to recognize that too. They need to understand that a lot of these products are more mainstream than they might anticipate.
Yeah, sure. And sort of the challenge we were facing with that is, how do we leverage that, right? Because for the non-Hispanic consumer, they nonetheless are looking for something that looks Hispanic,
right?
But something that looks Hispanic to an Hispanic and a non-Hispanic might be different, right? And like sort of cracking that code is sort of the unlock we're going after.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. So, Rodrigo, when you look back over your career, and I'm going to ask you to boil it down to three things. What are the three things that have really driven and led to the success that you've achieved?
Right. So I would say first and foremost, and I think this is true for a lot of aspects in life, is showing up, right? It's still going forward. There's bad days. There's bad periods. My background is in consulting, management consulting. It's a grueling industry. I did it for 12 years. And there were times where it's enough, right? I want out. But sticking through and just like waiting for that to pass, I feel that's one of the main things. Second, I would say that you have to make sure that you're walking a path where you're engaging with things you're passionate about. right? And sometimes you gotta go out of your way to sort of push that, or like materialize that into existence, right? By making right choices. And sometimes that stuff, sometimes that's gonna put you in a very short term disadvantageous position. But I would say that's another key aspect. And finally, and this is not this is not a joke. I think luck, like it's also a bit of luck, right? Have a mentor that always said, whether wherever you end up in life, it's a combination between being lucky and being ready to get the opportunity, right? So you cannot control luck, but you for sure can control the being ready. So I was ready and I was lucky. So
Yeah.
I think those three things.
That, I tell you, being lucky is very important, but you have to be ready
Correct.
for when those opportunities show up. You need to have your eyes open to see it, and you have to have the courage to chase it, to go after it.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. That's one of the things that I love being an entrepreneur. And people ask me like, don't you get scared? I'm like, of course, but that's part of the fun.
Every
You
day.
know? Yeah. When you were starting your career, what was your vision for yourself in terms of where you thought your career would go?
Right. So I could be very poetic about it, but the truth is, I was a clueless 20-something-year-old, and all I wanted at the time was like whatever makes most money, and that's basically how I got into consulting. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for me. Once I got there, like I then had a kind of a second moment of reckoning, right, where I realized that, hey, I actually like this thing or certain things about this, and then I feel that by realizing which things I like the most, then my path was like more set, right? I had an intention, and then from there I started developing to where I'm at, right? So at the very beginning, it was like, let's go for it, like whatever the most popular thing is. I think that's a valid starting point, and I feel that a lot of people that might be listening to this are maybe there. And I guess my advice would be, that's not bad that you want it for whatever reason. You don't want to just you don't have to justify that. It's just that in the end, in the long term, the reason has to go deeper and jive beyond any superficial thing, or else it's going to wean off over time, right?
Yep. It's funny. I talked to my kids about this topic of getting started in your career.
Oh yeah.
And I was the same way when I started mine as you. Like, to me, it was like, it was about the money and where could I have the best life? And I had to learn there's more to it than that. My kids are different. They're very much about what they're passionate about, what they think they're going to love. And my advice to them is just be open to other opportunities once you get in there, because it really doesn't matter how you get started, what that initial motivation is. What's
100%.
important is to be open to the opportunities that are presented to yourself. I remember one time I had sold my last company. I'd taken a year off, did a sabbatical to get my master's degree. And then I'm like, what do I do now? And one of my brothers said, hey, I know you're probably not at all interested in this, but we're looking for a consultant to join our ERP implementation team. I think you'd be great at it. I didn't know anything about ERP, but I knew a lot about enterprise software development and things like that. But I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I jumped in. It was the coolest 2 years I spent in my career because I was just drinking from that learning fire hose the whole time.
Right.
And I just got to experience stuff I never otherwise would have been able to experience. And it's been the foundation for the next major period of my career.
Right. And if I can try and link that to even like a company strategy, I always tell people when thinking about strategy is like, you identify what problem, then you go after it, calculate a very good strategy on how to go about it, and you have all this direction, and then life happens, right?
Yeah.
And even from a company perspective, you gotta go with what's going on. And yes, it probably won't be a straight path. It's not a straight path. It's not linear, right? It's
Yes.
taking what's showing up in front of you and making the best out of it. Of course, you had to have a north, right? And I feel that north is important, but don't pretend to chart every step of it, because it's not how it goes.
Yeah. So what point of your career did you get on this path you're on now to really be more on the sales side of things, sales strategy, et cetera? Where did that shift? What was behind that shift?
Yeah. I can speak about that. At the very beginning, I started in a consultancy that leaned more towards the logistical or like routing side of things. It was management consulting still, but more on the where to put my distribution center or what should I be primary versus secondary transportation, sort of that. After 3 years there, I sort of realized that was not for me. I was much more excited by the commercial aspect of it. So then I got an opportunity to join Simon Kucher and Partners, number one pricing consultancy and growth consultancy. And from the very start, first thing we did there is engage with sales. So even from that point onwards, it was everything sales, sales, sales. And when talking to anyone from operations, IT, or the other areas, I really try to stress that sales is what makes the revenue. Like the
Yep.
top line component is 100% sales, right?
Yep.
So being like in such a fundamental arena and getting like seeing all these salespersons and trying to get them to improve their game got me like quite an insight right into how sales behaved. And the more I saw, the more I liked it. And the thing I guess I like the most is that the sheer amount of the human component there is to sales, right? So I feel that's also something that you can connect with from a very basic level, right? That routing optimization will never allow you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like that was pretty exciting time in your career. What were some of the key lessons you learned, or maybe some of the key mentors you had in your development in that period?
Right. So I would say that all throughout the partners I was working with, very knowledgeable people. I think I learned a lot from every single one of them, but also the clients. I think that interacting from a young age with C-level leadership, especially on the sales side, it's something very illuminating as what leadership can be. As you probably are very well wide aware of, sales leadership is very different to other types of leadership, right?
It really is.
And they often get criticized, like, and here I'm doing like a stereotype that might or not be true to any extent, but often get criticized at more superficial or don't care about the process or the very deep thing. But at the same time, I find a lot of, I don't know how to tell it, like aspirational, the sort of raw passion they have for the thing they're doing, the the pragmatism, right, that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I would say like interacting with layers and layers of sales leaders got me like into that mentality. And when I pushed through the barrier of like manager and going to director, I had to sell now consulting projects. So that's another aspect of where I'm connected to sales, where I had to become the salesman of something slides. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's something very abstract, right? And a very difficult thing to sell. So I would say that seeing the partners and everyone within my team trying to do the sale and thinking through putting yourself in the client's shoes and so on and so forth was what like slowly shaped me into really understanding and being in contact, right, with what being in sales actually means.
Hey, we're taking a quick break to thank you for listening to and supporting the Sales Lead Dog podcast. I want to take a moment and tell you about my book, CRM Shouldn't Suck. If your CRM feels more like a black hole for data than something that actually helps your team sell, you're not alone. The book breaks down why CRMs fail for so many businesses and what you can do about it. No fluff, just real strategies that work. So go to crmshouldn'tsuck.com to order your free copy right now. That's right, we're giving it away. And while you're there, take 2 minutes to check out the CRM Impact Score. It's a quick diagnostic that shows you how your CRM is really performing, where it's helping you and where it's hurting you. You'll get a personalized report with clear, actionable next steps you can start right away to maximize your CRM investment. We've also got blogs, videos, and a bunch of other resources to help you finally get the results you were promised when you bought your CRM. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Okay, let's get back to this episode of the Sales Lead Dog Podcast.
Actually means.
Yeah. How different is it selling B2B versus B2C?
Well, I would ask you back, like, you mean B2C as in anything that lands in the consumer or being a retailer?
Because ultimately you're not selling directly to the consumer.
Right. B2B2C.
You're really doing B2B, but ultimately for the businesses you're selling to, they've got to be able to sell to consumers.
Right.
Right. So you have to understand the consumers, ultimately what's making their buy decision for them. It's very complicated.
Yeah. I would say that I've done both B2B industries and B2C industries. I like the B2C way more, and that's why I landed CPG in my career. And I would say the fundamental difference is that when you are selling B2B, the goal of selling is more of a spec sheet. It's you gotta comply with a certain number of things, and then the sales job becomes like making sure that you're kind of painting this picture to whoever you're selling to, that I comply with all these things, and this can maximize the value to you. Something very abstract, like some degrees retired from actually being in front of people. And B2C, it's all about understanding how people interact with the product, right? Is it a single serve? Is it a multi-serve? Is it people getting together to drink the thing? Or is it like me alone? Or is it while I'm walking? And I think that's way more relatable. And the way you sell has a component of everyday life that's just making way more exciting. No offense, friends in B2B.
Yeah. No, I understand it. There's a lot, I don't want to say a lot more to think about. It's just you have to have a very different lens that you're looking through going B2C. And I'm saying that with zero knowledge of B2C. I've never sold B2C, but it's from what I understand, it just seems to be that it's a different animal.
Right. Yeah. Completely different. And also it fluctuates a lot more, and it's something you got to keep the pulse way closer, right? For like, give you a recent example of last year's with all this wave of inflation that we had, and the situation for the consumers, where the consumer wallet was being stretched thin, and they started like shifting to private label. And then the way you react to that and really like partner with the consumer into providing them with options that allow for their needs to be met is something way more dynamic, and that involves a higher degree of having the pulse right on the consumer and knowing who your consumer is. And I just love that.
Yeah. In your role in sales strategy, how do you have to position yourself in your role dealing with the sales team? How might that be different from how a sales leader is dealing with their sales team?
Right. I'm being very careful because who will listen to it? So the sales leader is my colleague, and I guess the difference is the not having to sell, right? So I really have the time to take a step back, think the thing through, observe them selling, and sort of like create this X-ray of like, how are we behaving now that can be improved upon? Where do we need to build the capability and for them to become better at selling, but also from an organizational perspective, long-term perspective, right? As I said before, we are trying to become a food and beverage company that's centered around the consumer. And then like, what does that mean in the short term for the sales structure is something that is my job to think about and then go and pitch it to them, right?
Right.
Because I'm a firm believer that change management has to be about convincing people to behave differently, because there's a sense in what you're suggesting and not something that is imposed. So I would say that that's a fundamental difference, right? Sales is selling, they're doing the best they can, and they're incredible people, but that taking the step back at the cadence at which they operate is really that something not fair to ask from them, right? And that's what me and my team are here for.
Yep. So change management, I talk about change management all the time from my world, my perspective of technology. When we're implementing new systems, new processes, it's change, and it can be very hard for the people impacted by that. One of my central tenets of being successful with change management is to have a very compelling why message. How does that translate to your world and your role of that why message for the sales team and anyone else involved in your organization?
I would say that it's twofold. On one hand, it's all about the linking it to the strategy, and for that to be able to happen organically or smoothly, you have to have a strategy that's well thought of, that makes sense with your core competencies, that's well staged, that it goes from the easier to get to the harder to get, from the bigger opportunity to the smaller opportunity. Because if that's not there, I would say, like, even if you're very like a very good communicator and really go about telling them why, if the work, the due diligence has not been done on finding a why that, as any strategy, as any good strategy solves for the unlock that will allow you to achieve the thing, then you already lost the battle even before beginning, right? And
Yep.
then the second component is, how do you make it digestible to them? They're
Yep.
they're in a cadence, they're in a loop, monthly, quarterly, H1, H2, the year, goals. So it's very fast paced. And sometimes I feel that one of the sins from change management is that you want to accomplish too much change in too little time.
Yeah.
And so pacing it and starting bit by bit, right? The building blocks of the change has to be like also framed in a way they can digest it, right? And then the last mile is like getting the actual message in front of of them. And I think that the key to that is making it, and it sounds very simple, right? A bit very intuitive. It has to be something relatable that they can remember, that they can buy in, that they can see an upside for them as well. It has to be linked to their growth.
Yep.
So I feel like in that last mile, there's like a long list of elements that are more like common knowledge. But I want to stress that that it has to be solved from the very beginning, from the very top. Otherwise, you won't be able to download it all the way to being something intuitive for them.
Right. Right. You have to be able to, yeah, you have to be able to break it down and give them that ability to connect to it personally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. What's the hardest part about your job?
Yeah, I would say that the amount of moving pieces. So, I'm talking about this job in this precise stage, right? It's probably not true for all sales strategy and planning teams, but right now for me, like, there's so many moving pieces that you have to have your mind very, or your message, your goals very aligned with the thing you want to achieve, because you can quickly get distracted, it can quickly get diluted if you're not engaging at the right level, if you're not holding your team to some mid long term goals.
Yep. Yep.
I would say that by far it's the hardest, right? And I will always say, like, change management is hard always, anywhere. We all have seen the New Year's resolutions.
Oh yeah.
Like, you have personally experienced why change management is hard, right?
Yeah.
But if on top of that you have everything happening all at once, it
Yeah.
gets a bit harder.
Yeah. I imagine you have a lot of plates spinning all the time and you got to keep those plates spinning.
Exactly that.
That keeps it fun. Now you're taking a drink from one of your products. Do you mind showing the camera what we got?
All right. This is our sparkling soda, lime sparkling soda. We're launching this in nationwide. A bit of Mexico in every sip.
I love
I like
that.
the slogan.
I love that line. That line. I love lime. So like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we have orange as well.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah. What's great about that stuff? Then you start mixing it with stuff and it's like, ooh.
Oh yes, oh yes. I would say tequila and mezcal are pretty good candidates. If
Oh
you ask
yeah.
me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What keeps you motivated? What keeps that fire in the belly for you to keep achieving at the level you've been performing at?
So I would say is the impact, right? The impact I see from what I'm doing, and also doing the things. And this is something very personal. I've been making slides and tell people what to do for 12 years straight, and then, all right, go do this, goodbye, and then I left once and again and again.
Yeah.
So it happened to me as a waiter. When I was a waiter at age 19,
Yeah.
I was serving wine. It was like a box wine. It wasn't even good wine, but I served so much of it every day that I was craving it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have it because I was the waiter. So
Yeah.
it's similar to that. Now that I'm off consulting, I'm just drinking from the fire hose with the doing. I'm like, oh, I can do things. I can implement the things myself. So I think that's one aspect of it that it's sort of like I got all of this frustration of not being able to like shake the person and say like implement this, and now
Yeah.
I am in charge of that.
Yep.
And the other part I think is, as I said, the impact of I see my decisions and the things that we're enabling as a team start to happen and materialize, and it keeps me running, right? It
Yeah.
gives me one more meeting, one more Excel, one more email, and behind.
Yep.
I told my wife, give me a couple of years and I will slow down. I swear, I'm winning up from a very high rhythm. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm maintaining it because I'm loving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's because of that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What advice do you have for sales leaders in terms of how to best leverage their counterpart in sales strategy and planning?
That's a great question. Actually, I would say that one thing that I found the most often when influencing sales, even from a consulting perspective or consultant perspective, was the resistance to change, and sort of like we're good, we don't want we're good with meeting the targets as they are, we don't need to put another 10% in our targets, thank you very
Mhm.
much.
Yep.
So it's more of a like really getting into a growth mentality and understanding that the more you engage with sales strategy and planning into putting your own vision in there, and I think most teams in sales strategy and planning will welcome that interaction, the better result we'll get. Because if not, you will get a plan that looks more or less pre-made by someone that's not in full contact to the utmost extent with the business, right? So it's like my advice is this is not something that is resisted by fighting it, it's resisted by embracing it, right? It's sort of the Roman Empire thing of like, okay, I've conquered you. What are your gods? Let me have church for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're better off that way. Analogy, but
Yeah.
sort of applies.
One thing I really liked about what you're saying earlier is that if you're a sales leader, you're being measured quarter to quarter, month to month, quarter to quarter on performance. That's where your focus is at. It's hard to step back, to find the time to step back and take
Right.
that longer view of things. To be able to have someone like you backing me up, doing that I can rely on to see the things that I just don't have the time to see.
100%.
That's
100%.
huge.
Yeah. And the best cases I've seen, because I've been to many companies. I remember a client up in Stamford, Connecticut, who you are, where the sales strategy and planning person was pretty much the partner with the sales leader. They went together to every meeting. They were just like one person, and I feel that enabled them to achieve a lot of things they have achieved ever since,
Right.
and have the depth of conversations that they have, and sort of transform that. It's a major company doing consumer electronics, and they're pretty successful at it. I think that's key to why they were able to do it that way, because they were one team.
Yeah, that's awesome. I talked the same thing about sales and marketing. That sales and marketing, it's they used to talk about, oh God, what was the phrase about connecting sales and marketing? We're way past connecting them. We have to unify sales and marketing.
100%.
And so it's the same thing with sales and sales planning and sales strategy. It's unification, not connecting.
100%. 100%. I think that there's like fundamental detractors for that happening. I wouldn't frame it as conflicts of interest,
Mhm.
but since time is finite and you can only focus on so many things, getting your attention pulled away from selling to really anything,
Yeah.
it's always something that's gonna be an uphill battle, right? So I guess a sales team that has the courage and sees the value in putting up with that uphill battle is a sales team that can actually get that integration happening, and that's where the things really start getting together, aligning, and growing, or getting the company objectives.
That's awesome. That's fascinating. Shifting topics, Rodrigo.
Sure.
CRM, do you love it or do you hate it?
So I was just thinking that it's funny that we haven't mentioned AI even once in this conversation in
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
But so I got huge questions about this current state of CRM. I feel that CRM is seeing its own battle of who what will AI do
Yeah.
within CRM, and I don't feel that the established players quite have. I don't think the established player will see the other end of the tunnel the way they are right now. So I
Yes.
feel that CRM right now it's gonna be very different a couple of years from now as it existed up to today.
Yes.
I feel it depends very much on the use you give it, right? I've seen it people using it right, people using it wrong. I've seen people using it as an audit mechanism, and
Right.
I think for it sucks for that. Don't do
It
that, right?
absolutely sucks for that. Yep.
And I've seen people use it for communicating the big things that are happening,
Yes.
right? And I think that's where the value out of the CRM is, right? Understanding where we're at, a couple of steps in the future, and really doing something about it when we see a cliff coming up.
Yes.
I think that's the utmost like importance of the CRM. Of course, this is tracking and keeping people engaging and etc. But I feel that we can make up systems for that easily, right? For me, the CRM is an aggregator of what's about to happen that gives leader sufficient insight to start doing things about it timely.
Yeah. That's where I spoke at a conference yesterday on AI and CRM and preparing your CRM for AI. And there's a real theme here that I've been doing CRM for almost 20 years now, implementing it for a variety of industries. And our goal every time is we want to implement a platform for the selling team that truly enables them,
Right.
that frees them up, where we're proactively feeding them the information they need to go out and increase revenue for the business. Because it's like you said earlier, it all begins with sales. If the sales team is not selling, doesn't matter what else is going on in the business.
Right.
The revenue's got to come in through the door there to keep everyone else in their jobs. And so you need a CRM, a platform that is helping them to do that. Traditionally, CRM really hasn't been doing that. They have to go in and mine it. They have to figure out what they're going to do next, where they should be focused at. AI that's being put in place now and what's coming over the next couple of years. Now I can tap into all the data that's
Right.
going on in real time. But instead of me doing it, I've got an agent doing that. And it's interpreting, it's analyzing, it's feeding me. Here's your next best opportunity, the next best action. Here's where you need to be focused, Mr. Seller or Miss Seller, and helping you shape those conversations and giving you the insight that you need. It truly, it's going to completely transform the industry. And I agree that there's going to be a major shakeup. I tell people all the time, you remember Goldmine, you remember ACT from 20 years ago? 10 years from now, it's going to be similar. Like, oh, what was the name of that company we were using for CRM forever?
Yep.
They're going to fade away and they're going to be replaced by a whole new paradigm of technology that's driving revenue.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. I same thoughts.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to impact your role in sales strategy and being able to leverage AI to get better at what your team does?
So I would say that we're already using it. Probably we're not tip of the spear, but we're already using it daily, right? I use Plot to record meetings, and then I use Claude to get me transcripts to frame conversations at a high level, right? To keep track of the topics we're touching on. The add-ins for Claude in Excel and PowerPoint are wonderful. Are saving my team values hours, so they can actually devote to the thinking. And the thing I stress to my teams right now, where the technology is at this moment, and there's some proof for that, is that it enables top talent much more
Yes.
than people that use it more do the thinking for me. For me, it's sort of a booster of where your mind is at and the type of thought leadership you can generate from within, and it's that on steroids.
Yeah.
And I tell my team it's prohibited to try and have the AI solve the thing for you or get the thinking for you. Is your partner and accelerating the way you think and trying to prove things at a faster rate.
Yes.
It's not a substitute for it. And I for now, I feel that 10 years from now, have no idea, man. Like it could go anywhere from where we're at.
It's hard to predict.
Exactly. But if progress stopped right now and we were left with exactly what we have, I would say that eventually it would be small teams of very smart people driving the bulk of the change and then letting it waterfall within the rest of the organization.
Yep, that's exciting. Rodrigo, we're at our time here on Sales Lead Dog. This is another example, just zip by so fast.
No.
If people want to reach out, connect with you, if they want to learn more about Vilore Foods, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So you can go to our webpage, ViloreFoods.com or RodrigoHijar.com. In my LinkedIn, LinkedIn.com/my name. LinkedIn, I think, is the best means of contact. Web pages also work.
Yeah. If you didn't catch that, no worries. We have it in our show notes. You can get that at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog, where you'll get not only this episode of Sales Lead Dog, but all our, I think we're pushing over 180 episodes now. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to connect with Rodrigo and be sure to subscribe so you can get all our future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Rodrigo, thank you so much for coming on the show and welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Pack.
All right.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.